Welcome, insiders. This is a breaking news update about Pedro Sánchez and the UCO's investigation into his circle. In that circle, they were surprised to discover Sanchez's email, which includes two numbers that are not a coincidence. We're talking about the private email, the secret one, the one Sanchez uses with his family, in this case with his brother, to help him with the paperwork, to give him a better connection, to lend him a hand with his affairs, from the Badajoz Provincial Council. Those two numbers would mean that Pedro Sánchez belongs to the Freemasonry of Spain, and listen, at the highest degree. He would have been granted the highest degree in the Grand Masonic Lodge of Spain as payment for the favors that Sanchez has done for Freemasonry since he has been in power. We'll tell you everything in a minute. We were telling you that everything stems from the investigation by the Central Operative Unit of the Civil Guard into the circle of David Sanchez Perez Castejon, the brother of the President of the government. He's about to be sentenced. We'll see if he's guilty or innocent of the multiple shady deals he was involved in. And supposedly the president put him in the Badajoz Provincial Council with a position, getting paid without going to work. But that's another story. In that UCO investigation, they discovered what you're seeing here. 5 emails that the brother sends to his brother, the president, and also to Begoña Gomez, sometimes even to both of them. There they are from 2018 until the following year, asking for 1,000 favors. That's not what's important. We'll tell you about that in detail tomorrow. The important thing is, what is Pedro Sanchez's email address? And it's not just any email, you can see it, Pedro Sánchez 1212. This email address catches our attention because Sanchez wasn't born on December 12th, nor does the number 12 have any significance in his private or public life. According to the investigation by people involved in the private prosecution at the court where this documentation has emerged, they tell us that this 12 hides a numerology secret very much in the style of Freemasonry in Spain. Gentlemen, 12 would mean 1 plus 2. And 12 would mean 33, right? 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. And 33, the number 33, does have a very important symbolic significance for Sanchez and his circle. 33 is the highest degree in the Scottish Rite, which is the one accepted in Spain, as granted by the Grand Masonic Lodge of Spain. The 33rd degree is given to someone for having demonstrated exceptional service to the cause. In fact, Freemasonry consists of 33 degrees, and to Pedro Sánchez, the Grand Masonic Lodge of Spain. I'm telling you, it's been dominated by the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party for years, and by Sanchismo in particular. It would have granted him that power, supreme. And that's why they use his private family email, Pedro Sánchez 1212. Instead of using Pedro Sánchez 33, which would be too obvious. Look, Ricardo de la Cierva published a book called Zapatero almost 20 years ago. 3 years of Masonic government. That's where it all started, yes, always with Zapatero. That shows that not only Zapatero, but also members of his government like Maria Teresa Fernández de la Vega were Masons. But there are also members of the PP, the press, and the banking sector. Since 2022, the most pro-Sanchez wing of the PSOE has been holding the post in Freemasonry in Spain. Quema Oleaga has been the head of the Masonic Lodge. And he didn't hide his relationship with the PSOE, since he was a senator for the PSOE. This loyal and obedient Sanchez loyalist had a protege. And this protege is named Sean Parson Herrera. You're looking at him. His replacement was chosen last January and is therefore the Grand Master of the Masonic Lodge in Spain. There are two factions in the Masonic Lodge in Spain, the pro-Sanchez and pro-Felipe Gonzalez factions, the one closest to Felipe Gonzalez. And it seems that the Sanchista faction has been governing and leading Freemasonry for years. Why give that favor to Pedro Sánchez and make him a member of the highest degree, the 33rd of Freemasonry? Well, because of the many favors he has done for them since he came to power, for example, including Freemasonry in the historical memory law as victims of Francoism. Until Sanchez came along, no government, neither socialist nor conservative, talked about returning property to the Freemasons. Sanchez did, and he went even further. He invested 3,200,000 euros of public money in restoring the Masonic temple in Santa Cruz de Tenerife. This was its inauguration.
Well, we have already carried out an important act, which is the start of the proceedings to designate this Masonic temple as a democratic memory site. We have also signed an agreement with the Ministry of Democratic Memory and Public Administrations with the idea that they will return to Santa Cruz de Tenerife. All the elements of the Ñasa Lodge, which were characteristic and are currently in the Salamanca archive. There can be no restoration of historical memory if those elements do not return to their place of origin. And their place of origin is here at the headquarters of that Ñasa Lodge that was created in 1895 and whose elements must return to their city of origin. The Masonic Temple is a cultural heritage site. It is part of the history of our city, but it is also a symbol for all of Freemasonry, which was undoubtedly persecuted during the Franco dictatorship. In other Western countries, such as the United Kingdom, France, or the United States, Freemasonry was preserved just as democracy was preserved. In the case of Spain, incomprehensibly, the dictatorship persecuted Freemasonry for many years. Well, I think it's good to remember that, but above all, what's really good is to talk about the present, to talk about the future, about this Masonic temple as a place of gathering, a place of freedom, and a place of democratic values. I think that's what we have to do now at this historical moment. And that's what we want to happen in this temple, for it to be a place for interpreting our history, but also where there are conferences, debates, as well as visits or exhibitions, besides visiting the temple itself, which is already a marvel that everyone should see.
More was spent on restoring this Masonic temple than Sanchez has ever spent on any Catholic cathedral in Spain. Gentlemen, all we need now is the photograph of Pedro Sánchez with the symbols of the 33rd degree of Freemasonry. I'm sure someone captured that image when he was awarded such a high distinction. For example, the double-headed eagle. It is the ritual jewel of the 33rd degree with the message in Latin, God and my right. Or, for example, the collar that Sanchez surely wore at that secret event. This collar is worn in the 33rd degree, notice, always inside those jewels, the number 33 clearly visible. Or the sashes of the 33rd degree, the number again embroidered on one side. Let's see if we can get that image. I don't know why Sanchez himself doesn't show it. If he has been helping Freemasonry since he came to power like no other Spanish prime minister ever did. He likes symbols, rituals, secrecy, privacy, and we keep uncovering them one by one, his cover-ups. The latest has been his 1212 email. We knew that Sanchez still receives a lot of support that keeps him in power, even though his government has turned into a criminal organization. Well, Freemasonry is one of the main forces still propping up Pedro Sánchez in Moncloa, and they want it to last for many years so that he continues to serve them with the highest degree of Freemasonry to their demands. Welcome, let's investigate. Castillon Confidential by Albert Castillon.